When we're teaching dogs, we have a marker word and we also use a release cue. The marker is when we use some sort of sound or word, such as a clicker or the word yes or okay, as to mark exactly when a dog does their behaviour that you want. So if I want my dog to do a sit, I will get my dog if I'm using the lure, I could lure them, and as soon as their bottom hits the ground, I need to click and mark. So that dog knows exactly what they've done to cause that behaviour. Or if I want to get it down and I'm getting my dog into a down position, as soon as all of their legs are on the ground and their belly's touching, mark that, and that's telling your dog exactly what they've done correct that you like. So that's why we use the marker, so the dog knows exactly what they've done correctly, so that they can repeat that behaviour for you again. The release cue is used so that if we tell our dog to sit, they know that the behaviour is finished and they can go and do other things, and we've stopped working with them. So that way the dogs don't learn that they can hop up whenever they like. They know that they need to wait until... I'm going to talk about what a marker is. So we use markers so that we let the dog know exactly what behaviour they have performed to receive their reward. So a clicker is a really good one because it's a sound that is consistent, doesn't change, it doesn't put emotion in it if you use your voice. So generally a clicker is really good because it's also quick and fast. You can time exactly that behaviour. It's also good to have a word marker. So the one I use is yes, but you can use things like okay, as long as it's very short and precise. You don't want a marker that is something like good girl or good boy, because it's too long, and generally you may use that word in everyday life, just praising your dog. So you want something that is a little bit unusual and not used often, because if you ever use your marker, your clicker or your marker word, then you've created a promise that you are going to give your dog a reward. So if I do this, I must give my dog a reward because I've made a promise that whenever she hears that sound, she gets a reward. So to get the marker charged, you just need to wait for your dog. You have your dog. If they could be looking at you, you click it and you just give them a reward. Click it, give them a reward. So you'll charge your marker up like that. You might do that 5 times in a row, then leave it, then maybe the next day another 5 times in a row you'll go and just give your dog a reward. So your dog now knows that when they hear the marker or the click, that they will get a reward. So a marker word, I would go yes, and then I have to give a reward. Yes, give a reward. So you're not rewarding any behaviours, you're just charging your markers so that your dog knows that when they hear that sound, they perform something that you like and that they're going to get a reward. Alright, another important thing to remember when you're teaching the dog behaviour is we've taught that we've got a marker word or a clicker that we're going to use to exactly mark when your dog has performed the behaviour you like. Another important one is the release cue. A release cue lets your dog know that they have finished doing the behaviour that you wanted. So that way your dog doesn't just hop up and move around and release itself from the behaviour, especially if you're teaching a stay or a down and you want them to hold that position for a longer time. So you will tell them to do a behaviour, ask them to do it. Once they've performed it, you use a release word. You could use a release word like free, okay, as long as it's not the same as your marker or any other cues you use for other behaviours. You want something that your dog will recognise, again, probably a bit like your marker word, just something Easy could be free, okay, go, finished. So any of those words, it's up to you what you want to use, but it lets your dog know that they've finished working and that they can be released to do other things. Okay, now that you have your marker, you've got a release cue, you can now start teaching your dog some different behaviours. So you could do things like sit and down, but you need to remember, if you're going to use the lure method by having treats, you remember you lure first, then you mark the behaviour, then you reward the behaviour, and then you release. So you do it in that order. So you lure them, then you mark it, then you reward, and then you release. So that's how you can teach your dog different behaviours.